Wow, I can honestly say this episode was much better than I thought it would be, because coming off of season 2, while I did personally enjoy it, that season, if we're being completely honest, wasn't the best representation of the series overall, as not only did that season cover what is widely considered by the light novel fandom of the series the weakest arc in the overall story, but it also decided to change major elements of said arc in favor of giving Raphtalia more screen time, because she was the breakout star of season 1. And look, I'm not going to argue whether that was a smart move or not. Personally, I did enjoy some of the changes that were made in the anime from what I read of that arc in the manga, but it can't be argued that overall, Season 2 is considered a huge step down in quality from Season 1 in both story and animation. So going into Season 3, there's a lot of work that has to be done to regain the favor of the fandom. And I'm glad to say that I believe this first episode is a major step in the right direction. Okay, so rolling things back, as you know because you saw either the title of this video or the thumbnail for it, Season 3 of Rising of the Shield Hero aired its first episode earlier this week, actually earlier today as I'm recording this video, and right off the bat, the animation studio wants us to know that they're taking this season much more seriously, as in my opinion, the opening of the episode was much better animated than the beginning of Season 2. Between the giant tornado of flames and the attacks being thrown at Naofumi and his team from their opponents in the first minute of the episode, all of it was just super clean animation. And so was the cut to, I guess you would call it, the title page that pops up right before the intro plays in this episode. I don't really advertise it that much on this channel, but I do have a degree in graphic design, and the design style for that pop-up page, or whatever you would call it, is right up my alley. It's very minimalistic, only two colors, red and white. It has a very solid and very clean font style, and overall, it's just really clean. It's just something I really dig it. And speaking of the intro, the opening for the season was it was okay. The song didn't really leave an impactful impression on me, but to be fair, I was more focused on watching the animation throughout the entire intro, trying to pick apart clues and hints as to what the season's gonna be focusing on instead of actually listening to the music. So maybe if I give it another listen, I might end up enjoying it more. But like I said, during the intro, I was much more focused on seeing what I can expect from the season, because Season 3 of Rising of the Shield Hero is going to be the first season since the anime aired that I'm going to be going in completely blind. Because, like I mentioned earlier, I have actually read some of the manga for the series, and what I read of the manga, minus some light changes that were made in the anime, covers the story from the beginning of Season 1 all the way to about Episode 8 of Season 2. And unless they decide to add in some of the cut content that should have taken place during Season 2 that happened in the manga, I know absolutely nothing of what's going to be going down in Season 3. So I'm going in with completely fresh eyes, and like I said, the first episode has me very excited for what's to come. Because I mean, dude, come on, we're getting a tournament arc. Who doesn't love tournament arcs? They're usually the best seasons of every anime that has one. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, rolling things back again. After the intro plays, the episode flashes back to right after the ending of Season 2, and we end up finding out that some major things happened off screen in between seasons. For one, after stopping a wave while our MC was off in another world, the other three heroes all mysteriously disappeared, with the assumption being that they're all feeling guilty over not being useful in stopping the Spirit Turtle last season, and they're either off training or just sulking in a corner somewhere. And this is a major problem because now that the Spirit Turtle has been defeated, the next Calamity ranked threat, a freaking Phoenix, is going to try and finish the job. Now, luckily enough, because of everything that happened in the last season, they were able to stall the Phoenix waking up by about 3 or so months, so there's still time to find the 3 missing heroes and level everyone up in order to face it. But even if the 4 of them do level up, it's still very likely that they won't be strong enough to beat the Phoenix by themselves, so Naofumi actually has the idea of gathering all the vassal heroes of their world that he found out existed from when he traveled to the other world and found out about vassal heroes, and get them to help out in the fight as well. But surprise surprise, all but one of them is missing as well, and the only one they know how to find is the staff hero, aka the former king of Melormark, who was obviously not the shield hero's biggest fan. And when it was revealed that he was one of the heroes, it caught me off guard, but at the same time, for some reason, in the back of my head, felt like I already knew this information. Like, I don't know, I don't remember if it was ever brought up in a previous episode, but for some reason, I feel like I knew already he was a hero, and I'm not sure if it was brought up previously in a previous season, or if it's something I kind of just found out about by osmosis from talking to maybe like a light novel fan or someone, or maybe it was mentioned in the manga. I don't know, for some reason, I feel like this is not new information, but it's treated as new information the way it's represented in the episode. Either way, it's safe to say that unless his life is in immediate danger, he's more than likely not going to be helping out. Oh, and also, the former first princess, aka Bitch, is missing as well, and from what we see of her in the intro, it looks like she's up to no good again, and it seems like she's trying to seduce a new person who's going to help her out in whatever plan she has. I couldn't really tell based on the character design if it was actually the spear hero or if it was a brand new person that's going to be introduced in the season. It's weird. The person looked like they had short hair, and that's obviously not how the spear hero looks. He has very long hair. But again, is we only get to see it for like a quick second, so it's hard to say who it was that she was trying to persuade to help him out whatever plan she has. Not to mention, there's a threat of outside nations seemingly making plays to invade Melormark while they're still trying to recover from the incident with the Spirit Turtle. So as you can see, this season is going to be jam-packed with a lot of conflict. But most importantly, the main focus for at least the beginning of the season is going to be on Naofumi trying to buy back all the slaves from Raphtalia's home village. Not only because he believes it's the right thing to do, but also because he plans to train them to help in defending his territory from future waves. And you know, despite the fact that Naofumi still comes off as very mean-spirited and vengeful, he is someone who has a very kind heart, but at the same time, he's also very practical, hence buying the slaves their freedom and allowing them to live as they pleased in his land, but also making sure that if need be, they can defend their homes without him. It's honestly a very noble cause in my opinion, but unfortunately not one that's easily achieved, because due to the Queen trying to end slavery in Melormark, all the slaves were quickly bought up in order to be sold in a black market auction. And our MC doesn't have nearly enough money to outbid all the wealthy participants of said auction. Oh, and by the way, during this whole scene where Naofumi's trying to find the auction and go there, they end up meeting the uncle of the slave merchant that they usually deal with, who looks exactly like his nephew, and everyone else just kind of, rolls with it except for Filo. It's like we get the scene where she sees him, she questions like, wait, what's this guy doing here? We just saw him over near the city. And then everyone else, once they find out he's their uncle, he's the uncle, just kind of like, oh, okay, you just kind of look just like him. And they just kind of move past it. Fio, on the other hand, just has this dumbfounded look on her face the entire time. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like, literally, there's a moment where she's just stuck at the door, just staring at him, completely confused, while everyone's just walking around her. And, I don't know. I just found the whole thing kind of funny. And I was laughing my ass off during that scene and kind of rewinded it about 3 times over in order to watch it again to see how confused she looked on her face. Anyway, in order to earn some quick cash so he can actually buy the slaves from the auction, Naofumi decides to check out the underground fights that happen in that city, where he ends up meeting 2 characters from the intro. One who he more likely will end up fighting in the arena later on in the season, and another one who, based on the intro, is going to be joining his party later on. And look, I'm not going to lie, his idea of using Raphtalia's illusion magic to trick the audience into thinking they're weak and just barely beat their opponents in order to stack the bets against them is actually very smart, kind of genius actually. It's going to earn them a lot of quick cash, but eventually more and more people will start betting on them as they start winning more, and eventually they'll end up earning a lot less money than they originally were. But luckily for us, we don't actually have to worry about that, because while Naofumi's plan is to earn some easy cash, obviously this plot is here to introduce these strong opponents that they'll be fighting against in the arena, as the episode ends, showing us the girl that Naofumi met earlier, but also another fighter from the intro that obviously he'll be facing off against in the coming episodes. The money plot, that's not really relevant. We'll just assume from the earlier fights he'll earn enough money to buy back all the slaves. The real point of this tournament arc is to introduce or recruit one of these fighters who will more than likely end up being revealed to be one of the missing vassal heroes. And while I have a pretty solid guess on who it is, I'm really looking forward to finding out over the next few episodes who the vassal hero ends up being.